Well, AJ, it was WrestleMania season, so
Oh.
I decided to get the old Peacock again for a month and watch WrestleMania.
Hmm.
And I gotta say, pretty pretty solid WrestleMania this year. It wasn't too much on there that I rolled my eyes at. You know, these days with wrestling, it's like always kind of dodgy, but it was actually pretty good. Not a lot of like silly stuff that I didn't like. So
That's
it was
great. Like, wait,
yeah.
so who are the big names these days, like for WrestleMania? Who are the main like cards?
So the main event was Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. So
I
they're
know
like
Roman
the
Reigns.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh, you don't know Cody Rhodes?
I don't.
He's the son of Dusty Rhodes.
Oh.
And he was actually in the WWE for quite a long time, but is kind of like a mid card guy that never really like got over like super big.
Hmm.
And then he left, and he eventually went to that AEW company,
Oh
that new wrestling company, for a few years.
yeah. Hmm.
And then he came back and kind of got a push behind him, and now he's like probably he's the world champ now, and like probably like the biggest name, one of the biggest names in their company.
Oh, good for him.
Actually, the WWE right now is like on fire as far as like attendance and stuff. Like they're doing very well, and like The Rock recently joined like their like board of directors, and The Rock's actually been on TV quite a bit.
Hmm.
And he was actually on WrestleMania as well. He actually had a tag match at WrestleMania. Although now I think he's going away for a while to do like a movie or something. But like he definitely bumped the ratings, like having The Rock on like
Yeah,
every week.
for sure. Yeah.
But
I'm surprised The Rock came back. He must have got paid a fortune to come back.
well, now that he's on the board of directors, like
Oh,
he's making like I assume they're paying him like pretty big money,
yeah. Consistently, if he's on the board of directors, he's getting paid like every whatever.
Yeah. And I'm sure he even gets bonuses when he's actually like on television and
It makes sense. Yeah.
selling merch and things like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, WrestleMania this year pretty good.
Man,
Um,
wouldn't it be great if, like, so does Stone Cold ever come back? Does Shawn Michaels ever come back?
um, Stone Cold actually had a match last WrestleMania,
Oh,
and I mean, it was kind of a gimmick match. Like you could kind of tell, he's still in good shape, but you could tell he's not he's not who he
can be
used to be.
practicing. Yeah.
Right. So it was a bit rough around the edges, but it's like it's always good to see Stone Cold. And then Shawn Michaels, I believe, is now like WWE has their NXT show, which is basically like the up and comers that are being trained to wrestle, and
Okay.
so he's involved with that, like
He's
helping
like a trainer.
training.
Oh,
Yeah, helping train
that's pretty cool.
new wrestlers. So he's retired from in ring.
Real life? Did you say he was a jerk in real life, or did you say he was like a pretty decent person?
Who, Shawn Michaels?
Yeah.
So definitely in the '90s, he had a reputation of being like a pilled up a hole.
Oh, okay.
And he's one of those guys that became like a born again Christian. He's very religious now. I
Oh.
think some people say that he's like decent now, and some people like I still think he kind of rubs them the wrong way, maybe. So I can't
Hmm.
really say for sure. I think he definitely had a time in the '90s where a lot of people hated him.
Okay.
But I think these days, like people have mellowed on him. But yeah, apparently he is like a big time like Christian or whatever. So
You think being a heel in wrestling and like being treated a certain way by a lot of people like just makes you like kind of like fuck these people, like I don't care anymore. It's like, do you think that has an impact?
I don't know, because like I listened to Jim Cornette's podcast, and he's mentioned a couple times that like back in the day, like it seemed like most of the guys that were heels on television were like the sweethearts in real life, and most of the
Hmm.
guys that were baby faces were like the a-holes. So it was almost like an opposite thing.
what happened with The Rock, dude? Like he was a total heel when he started out, but people just started buying into it. Like there, it was so like Stone Cold was. He wasn't a heel. He was just kind of like did his own thing, at his own whatever, like in his own style. But The Rock was always like, The Rock says, and like he started out as a total heel before that even.
Well, actually, what's funny with The Rock? If you look at his very first appearance as Rocky Maivia,
Mhm.
he wasn't The Rock at that time. He came in and he was this like big smile, and they were kind of pushing him
Oh,
in as this like really nice guy, and like the people rejected him, and they started like saying Rocky sucks and die Rocky
yeah.
die and all this stuff, and that's what made him turn into The Rock. He was just like, okay, if they don't like me, they're really not going to like me, and so he went into it hard, and
Damn, man.
and it worked, man. He got over that way.
Yeah.
It worked like charm. Even with Stone Cold, it's funny because he started out as a heel, but then when like he started like basically kind of going against authority figures, people were like, hey, I kind of like I like this, like it was this fantasy thing, like I wish I could stand up to like my boss or whatever
Yeah.
authority figure in my life, and he started becoming a baby face. um and I think he's even said in interviews like, he didn't like that at first because he liked being a heel, and then like one of his buddies was like, "Hey, like you were kind of being a baby face out there," and he didn't like that at first, but it was
Yeah.
like it became more and more obvious that like his friend was right.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it was successful. He probably made a ton of money off of it. I hope he made a ton of money off of it.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Rock and Stone Cold, they were like the biggest things going during the Attitude Era. Man, I was a huge fan of them both.
I do remember, like, people complaining that Vince wasn't paying a fair wage, though. Like, he wasn't taking care of the guys, like, maybe with health insurance and stuff like that. I'm sure, like, the
Well,
superstars got better treatment, but, like, some guys maybe didn't.
what's messed up is to this day, the wrestlers are not regular employees. They're considered subcontractors,
Mm.
even though they really don't, because of their contracts, they don't really have the freedom to go like wrestle like wherever. And like basically, because
Yeah.
it's one of those things. And there's even like, John Oliver actually did a segment on his show about this probably like last year or so. It's kind of a controversial thing because really, if you look at all the facts of like what constitutes an employee and what constitutes a subcontractor, really, all these guys should be regular employees, and the WWE should be paying for their health insurance, which is not the case.
Yeah.
Now, I believe like when guys are seriously injured, like the WWE will help like pay for their
Okay.
surgeries and stuff,
That's good.
but I don't think the WWE pays for like base health insurance for them. I think they got to take care of that themselves because of the whole
Mm.
subcontractor thing. But yeah, it is kind of BS. There's really no excuse, especially with a company as large as the WWE. They can 100% afford it. So you
Yeah.
know they really all should be classified as employees.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
I don't know if they'll ever get a politician in their corner that'll actually help
Right.
them.
Yeah.